Veganism. All right, guys, so I have some opinions to share. So as I share my opinions, all I ask is that you keep an open mind, and if it resonates with you, keep it. If it doesn't, you can totally pass on. This is a perspective that I've been able to get just from kind of taking myself out of the picture and kind of observing what's going on. Okay. So let's talk about resistance with veganism in the first place. If you're vegan, if you're plant-based and you're watching this, stop dividing the people that are not vegan with you. The whole point of, most people, the whole point of veganism is that they care about animals and we want unity again. So what is it doing? It's pulling us away from other people and towards animals. We don't want that. We want everyone to unify again. But for some reason, veganism is actually dividing us. Why is it doing that? We forget that not everybody has the same view as us. And I know reasons for me being vegan, that I do it for my body, but I also do it for animals and the sustainability of the earth. And I also do it for ascension reasons. And so explaining myself to people who are not receptive to it is just going to cause resistance, and that's going to divide me. And if my goal is to unite, why would I let my ego get in there just to prove myself right? You know, and there are moments where I do stand up and I say, oh, okay, well, what if you could look at it in this way, in this way? So I'm not telling you guys to stop just, defending veganism or whatnot, but let's try to find a middle ground here, because the resistance I'm realizing is that veganism is completely twisted. And a lot of people will see vegans and just assume we're all the same, but we're not. There's vegans that eat processed food. There's vegans that still eat other things that aren't as strict. There's vegans who are not actually understanding the body, and as they are eating things, they're not actually absorbing anything. So this is the topic of this whole video, is that if you're vegan, if you're plant-based, you're eating plants, you are a plant. But what if your plant is dehydrated? You're not even able to absorb any of the nutrients that you are eating from the plant. And so a lot of the time, vegans have to go back to eating meat because it's not sustainable, right? And they don't feel good. And for some reason, they feel deficient and they have all these problems going on. But literally, guys, if you are dehydrated, you will not be absorbing the nutrients that you're eating. So it doesn't matter how many supplements you're taking as a vegan. It doesn't matter how healthy you're eating. If you're not absorbing the food, you're not going to be absorbing the food, right? So take that into consideration when you're talking to vegans. Now, one of my friends posted on social media, is it just me or do vegans look super unhealthy and withering away? Yeah, I've met some that do, even that get dark circles under their eyes. Now, in me and like my skin, I am hydrated. I am absorbing my nutrients. I also have a superfood shake that I make every single day with all my little alchemical, processes that I know how to put nutrients into my body so that I am optimized, but I make sure I'm absorbing the nutrients, because it doesn't matter what you're taking, it's going to go right through you if you're not absorbing it. So this is why I'm making this video, is because I want to share what I have found being vegan, being plant-based, and that has helped me on my journey. So if you're a vegan and you're struggling with anything like a deficiency, or you're thinking about going back to meat, let me just offer this to you. So the first thing, absorption. Of course, water. I choose Kangen water because I believe in it and it works on every level, and I study the science of it. So having a Kangen machine, that's spelled Kangen, a lot of people call it Congo, which I thought was actually kind of funny on my recent video. But it's a machine that you can hook up to any sink, and you plug it in and you get electrified water, you get ionized water, you get structured water, you get hydrogen water. And it's small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, and all of a sudden your body starts absorbing nutrients. Cool, huh? So it's cool because a lot of the time we can do little tests to show you guys this, and I'll probably end up making a video soon just because I talk about water so much. I'd like to actually show you guys tangible evidence of all the waters that I test and the little meters I have, and I'm like a little scientist. It's so fun. So that's the first thing I would change. Look into your water. Look into structured hydrogen-rich water. Look into the machines. I gotta tell you, there's a reason why the Kangen machines are so... Everybody compares themselves to Kangen because Kangen is a medical device, and it's literally a certified medical device. So anyway, that's the first part, absorption. Make sure you're absorbing your food. The next thing is our bodies adapt, right? And so if we're on a certain diet for a certain amount of time, our bodies will have to adapt to that food. That's why Ayurvedic medicine, following an Ayurvedic way, is learning about your doshas, I believe they're called, and learning when to eat food, and that we actually eat food in seasons because we change. Our bodies are made to adapt. We're not made to just eat the same thing forever. Like, our bodies adapt. And so what happens with vegans is that our bodies need to be adapting, but we, maybe we have limited food or whatever your guys' diets are. The best way to minimize this is to do a fast every 3 to 6 months. Now, I personally do a fast once a month, and that can be 1 to 2 days. I do intermittent fasting most of the time. I won't eat until about 12. But what this does is it resets the system. So think about that, start thinking about, and I'm not saying like you guys got to do like 40-day fast. I'm talking like 1 to 2 to 3 days. Once you get up to 3 days, you'll understand, okay, I can get through it. But the main thing that I want to offer to you guys right now is that we have an addiction to food. We have an oral fixation to food. Now, I know that's a blanket statement, and I know not everybody does, but just bear with me as I use words as communication to describe this. So I went through a deprogramming from food. I was highly addicted to sugar. I was eating all these Sour Patch Kids. I loved gummy worms. Like, I'm not even kidding you guys. I used to eat them in bed. And growing up, I just ate so much candy because it was a comfort thing for me. But it was doing awful things to my body, and also my family had all these problems. So I knew that diabetes were running in my family, and I knew that I needed to do something in order to actually get it out. So the thing is, when you're going and eating these things like sugar, it's activating parts of your DNA. And if something runs in your family, it's gonna turn on. And I started feeling it in myself. I started, feeling it in the way that I was getting lightheaded. My blood sugar counts were low. And so I realized that I was also addicted to food on an emotional level because I was binge eating. And I went through a phase in college where I was bulimic and I was throwing up. And I am fully going to admit that. It was when I was about 19 and 20 years old. I'm 28 now, so it was a very long time ago, but I had to go through it. But once I changed to being vegan, and I'm not talking the processed kind of vegan. I'm talking like, whole foods, like cooking clean, nothing processed, not nothing processed, but just minimizing the processing of the food and just sticking with those foods. I started realizing how I didn't have the same cravings. Pairing that with the water, when you start to drink Kangen water or, different types of water, like alkaline water or whatnot, your taste buds start to change. And so you'll actually start craving fresh food instead of the old processed food. So this is just something to take note. If you're new to eating healthy, just hang in there because your taste buds have to take a little while to change, So once I got through that, I did a fast, and I did it for 6 days, and I deprogrammed myself from food. And when I did this, I was like, whoa. I noticed when I was thinking about food, I noticed how much mind power I was using on food. And I was literally like, whoa, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure food is the main thing that distorts our minds, our consciousness. Like, what we eat is what we are, right? So being really aware of what I was putting in my body, like when I was fasting, I could literally go next to somebody and feel their cravings for like pizza or whatnot. My friend Shayna did it for 13 days. And it was crazy. It really put things into perspective. And so after that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I would like to help society deprogram from food 100%. And since I had an eating disorder, since I went through that whole thing myself, I know how, like literally I would wake up every day being like, how can I stop eating so much? Like I used to take diet pills. I used to try different things because I couldn't control my appetite because I was addicted to eating because it was an emotional thing. So I know that trap, and I just know it, and it's not a good place to be in. But you guys, like, let me be the lighthouse for you, because I got out of it and it runs in my family very deeply. So you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I know that's like cliche to say, but it's true. I'm no Superman, even though I feel like we're all super people. Now we are, and we were then too. But this is coming from a place where just it's a food consciousness, really. And so anyway, going back to this whole weaning ourselves off of food, I asked myself, what is the best way that I could help society deprogram from food? And it was from, I originally went through this thing like, do a cleanse, do a fast. And people were like, I'm not going to do a fast for 6 days, Jilly. Like, that's a long time. So I was like, okay, you're right. And so then I started learning more about cleanses. And that's why I offer the cleanses on my website, because they're 10-day cleanses, but they are specifically designed to deprogram you from food. And you have the options to eat healthy food while you're taking the cleanse. But so if you guys want to know more about that cleanse, go ahead and contact me, joinjilly@gmail.com. But the cool thing about this is I had my blood tested. So parasites, here's the next subject, parasites. They come into your body, and they can actually control your desires, your cravings. And so the best thing to do is to cleanse yourself from parasites. Do a parasite cleanse so that you can find your own innocence, your own purity again. I guess that's the best way I could describe it. And so what I found, and I was talking to the woman who tested my blood, my friend, and she was like, a lot of vegans have high toxicity or hormone problems or all these things because they're not absorbing anything, and nothing can flush the parasites out. So I'm like, okay, so everybody that's in this like war, like I just see it all the time. Like being vegan, people are so funny. They just think I'm judging them. And I'm like, dude, do your thing. If you're going to eat meat, that's your reality. Like I'm doing my own thing, and I'm not going to, hate. But the reason why I'm so fascinated with the plant-based diet is because now that I've gone raw, I'm about 90% raw. My body is craving biophotons. It's craving light. Food with light in it, it's basically measured by what's called angstroms. And so like fruits and vegetables have angstroms in it. And so you can like measure it. If you look in Kirlian photography, it's Kirlian on Google, you'll see that all this food actually has a bright aura because I'm eating biophotons. And so that's, for me on my ascension process, that's what I'm aligned with. I'm aligned with eating biophotons. I'm aligned with eating light, and I don't want to eat death. That's just me. And I also want to include that I do think it has something to do with your ancestry. And if you guys have lived near the equator or away from the equator, and if you had to kill to eat because that was a survival mode. So a lot of us have the program that we needed animal meat to thrive, but we get proteins from vegetables, because proteins are just amino acids. So you can get amino acids from something else. So the protein myth is actually just a myth. And you can research that more if you just type in protein myth. My partner Chris talks about it all the time. So having this information, we can rebuild our bodies. And as we're becoming more light beings, we are going to be eating more light. And for me to understand that veganism isn't a religion, and I really want to spread this word to the vegan community as well, because we have so many deficiencies. And I really want to invite you guys to change your water. Change your water, because you are water. And if you're not absorbing any of the nutrients from the things that you're eating, you're going to have deficiencies. And so, I mean, if you guys see me, I feel like I'm glowing. I feel great. Like I love fruit. I just wanted to say that, like, you guys, I love fruit, and I know there's a bunch of, there's controversy on fruit, but the way that I figure out my diet for my lifestyle is I just tune into my own body. I tune into my own blood. I tune into the cells, the waters that move me, and my body will tell me. And oftentimes, because I have gotten rid of all the parasites, my body tells me. But I gotta tell you, man, my ego before, when I was becoming vegan, I almost went back to eating meat because I didn't have the parasites out of me. So it was hard for me to tap into my own body because I still had parasites in there that were controlling the way that I think. Now, this is all my perspective, and I want to let you guys know that everybody's perspectives are allowed to be different. We are allowed to have theories. We are allowed to explore. We are allowed to be different and still friends and unity and family and humanity. So keep that in mind as you're listening to different theories of diets and this proves this and science and that. And most of the stuff that I get is from my own downloads, from my own connection with source, and then finding the proof, the scientific proof to prove it always flows to me afterwards. So yeah, if I could tell you guys to read anything, it would probably be The Body Electric, that book, and then The Secret Life of Plants. Learn a little bit more about angstroms, and there you go. Learn on your own. Don't take my word for it. But so thank you guys so much. Absorption is key. I love you.